this is what we're working with, and they're very brand new, very pretty, very special, just plain white sneakers. I believe they're sneakers, or maybe there is a different word for them, but yeah. Gotta take out the laces, of course, and here we go. In the beginning I'm going to try to just make some sort of a base project that I'm going to reference during my actual painting. And so here we go. Here I am trying to paint a cat with a little witch hat, and I think it's a funny concept, to be honest, because, you know, it's witchy, it has a cat, which is a bonus, of course, and the cat is black, because why not? I made like a little catchphrase to add on my shoes. I am not a witch, but my cat is. It's kind of funny, in my opinion, and I think I'm going to add it like separately on both shoes, like I'm not a witch on one, and then what my cat is on the other one. Here I'm looking for some references, like reference photos, because I couldn't get some poses just right for the cat, and I thought that maybe I could use them in the future, because I was not going to design this painting fully. It's just something that I could reference and kind of freestyle with. That's what I'm doing here. So yeah, and this is the finished product. I think it's kind of cute. I am just going to display it on my laptop while I do the actual shoes painting. First things first, we have our paint brushes: white, yellow, red, green, blue, acrylic paints, more white, because you can never have enough white, and black. If someone wanted to know, the numbers of paint brushes I use are 3, 1, 00, I guess, and number 2. In hindsight, I know that I have ended up using only number 0 and 2. As my palette, I used just a piece of styrofoam. When putting some paint on my palette, I always make sure that I don't do too much, because I can always add more, but I just don't like my paint going to waste. And of course, the shoes themselves. So, as I said, this is what we are working with. I will start from the right shoe, and I will start from black cats that I designed before. Those little kitty designs, because I think they're cute, and I think that if we mess up something else and that is going to be next to them, they will be easy to fix. So they're a good first step, in my opinion. This first one is going to be doing, well, like a cat pose in yoga. Basically, he's going to be doing a big stretch with his head towards the front of the shoe and his tail extended towards the back. Although after some consideration, he actually looks more like he was just walking. Normally, I imagine he would be balancing on a roof or something like that, but it's still cute. This second cat is just supposed to be kind of peering at you from behind something, and his paws are going to be on this like strap at the heel of the shoe. He's quite a cheeky one, I think. Just look how sparkly it is. It's so pretty. This third one is going to be special to me because he is going to have a hat. He is going to be the one with a witch hat. I don't know if you're seeing it right now on the screen directly, but I am sure you're going to. I had some problems with his tail because I wasn't quite sure how wide his actual body should be for the tail to be very well visible, and so later on I have to make some little adjustments with white paint, but it's nothing major. He still turned out quite well. So, next on the agenda is the sunflower. I thought it was very flat, even though obviously it was just the first base color that I put down, but I still tried to give it some depth by just layering a little bit more dense paint onto it, and I think it worked pretty well. Then I tried to bring a little bit of the shadow into the flower, but I still thought it was a little bit too flat. So I decided to just outline the singular petals with like a brown paint. And I think that gave it a little bit of life. I also added the middle of the flower and just some details. Now, I would like to add a prefix because I can see that there are still shadows of my mistakes next to the cats, and I am going to fix it further along the way. I'm just going to add another layer of white paint and it's going to be pretty much not noticeable at all. But right now, during the process, I am just making sure that the paint that I have already put there is fully dried, so I don't make even more of a mess. For the next flower, I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what it's called, but what I do know is that this is my favorite from this shoe that I have painted, and it's just so whimsical and delicate and just so different from the previous parts of the design. Of course, I did enjoy the cats and the sunflower, but they are all they have very well established sharp edges, and this is the first flower that doesn't have them, that is quite soft and just nice. If the flower can have a character, I think this one could be nice. Next, I have decided to paint a chamomile into the composition, or to be exact, just a part of the chamomile, because I thought it would just make the composition fuller and more together. I think I have succeeded, but let me admit that this could have stayed without it. It would have been fine now looking at it, you know, from the perspective of time, but that's what I have decided, and I am quite okay with that. It has been a little bit of an issue to paint any kind of a shadow on the petals because they are very white, and I was so afraid of just kind of overdoing them and for them to look too cartoonish and too just over the top, overdrawn and overpainted. So they're very, very light, very slight, I think even too light. But yeah, that's what I have stayed with. I have also chosen to paint a violet flower, and the problem with it was not the problem with the flower itself, It was more the problem of a placement, because it was supposed to be like, it had to be partially behind a cat and behind its butt, to be exact, which is admittedly a little bit awkward. But I think in the end, the way it looks is quite okay. I also decided to paint the other violet flower, but I have no idea what it's called, so forgive me for that. I just think it works good for the composition that I was imagining. This kind of flow from the head of the first cat towards the ankle. Editing note. Apparently, Google Translator says that those flowers are called crocus, but I don't trust it, so if someone in the comments can tell me what they are actually called, I would be thankful. So here is the mixing of the purple paint that I was talking about. I hope someone could use that knowledge. I thought I would do some corrections on the violet flower, and here is I'm pretty sure it's just a random flower that I just made up. It's pinkish, purple-ish flower. You may call it whatever you want, to be honest. I just put it there to fulfill the flow of the pattern of the flowers. And for now, that's all for the first shoe. I will work on it a little bit more later. Now I'm going to start the second shoe. As for the first flower, because here I'm going to start with flowers, I am going to do another pink one, just like for the first shoe, like my favorite one. Here it came out a little bit darker, a little bit more refined, less delicate, I think. I think in general the second shoe came out with a little bit of a different character. More like summer, opposite to the first shoe that was more like spring. I am using here a technique that I usually use to get the base shape of something. I am just putting like a basic middle tone color, and then I'm adding some shadows, some darker, deeper tones, and some highlights so that it helps me to capture the basic shape and a little bit of depth of whatever I am painting or drawing. And now it's finally time for the tulip. It's my second favorite flower from all of this. It's different from the pink one in a way that I think it turned out more energetic, more sunny, and just with a lot of joy in it. Now for another part of the design on the left shoe, I decided to put a poppy flower, and I think in the beginning it kind of looks like a rose before I actually add the middle part. I think it starts to really take shape when I add some shadows. The last flower that I decided to paint is this little chamomile flower, like the wild type. I don't know exactly what they're called, but I think they're really cute and really dainty little flowers, and so that's what I decided to portray here. I think it was one of the most simple designs out of the whole project, and the shadows I have added on this one I think were just enough to be visible, but not enough to make it weird and cartoony. Then, as kind of a finishing touch of the visual part of the design, I added a witch hat, and I think it turned out quite well, quite cute, and in a way a little bit spooky. It also didn't turn out perfect from the beginning. I decided to change the shape a little bit, and so I had to correct it again with white paint. Of course, there is nothing we cannot fix while painting. It's just supposed to be fun. So, the finishing part of the whole design, I decided to add my little catchphrase. I am not a witch, but my cut is. Of course, one part on one shoe and the other part on the other shoe. I didn't have any particular plan for the design or for the font or for the size of it. I just did what felt right, and I think it turned out quite okay. Also, as part of the finishing touches, I added some white elements to the cats, mainly just eyes and some little cute smiles. Also, of course, I finished all the fixing my previous mistakes. And here is a montage of the finished project in action, I would say. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have maybe learned something. This is the longest video I have made so far, and it took a little bit longer, but I think it was worth it. I have learned editing quite a bit. I think it turned out well. So, goodbye and see you later.